What's up, guys? Welcome to The Inside, episode 8, and today we're going to talk about market access providers. We'll include in that network, aggregators, anywhere, any group that you're considering joining that gives you access to a broader set of carrier markets. And there's all different versions of these. And this is, I want you to know that I do not believe there is a right or wrong answer to this question. And I considered a bunch of different options. I considered not choosing a market access provider. So I guess the very first thing that you need to consider in this decision is, do you want, or should you even consider joining a network aggregator? I'm going to group all those together as a market access provider. The answer to that is it completely depends on your business, on your goals. I will tell you early on, it's going to be tough to get markets. It's going to take way longer than you want. And you're going to really have to be dialed in terms of your vision, what you're trying to do, your resources, what you've done in your past, your vision for the agency. You need to have a business plan, a marketing plan. Really, you need to have connections in the industry. And even with all the connections that I have and goodwill that I've built, whatever that may be, probably more than most agents who are starting out for the very first time building their own agency. I've gotten some tremendous opportunities, and I've had some other places where I've had to struggle and fight to get an audience. Again, that's the nature of the beast. And I don't think that it's wrong for carriers to put that much work into making a decision as to who to appoint. So that's not an indictment of carriers. It's just that is the reality of the process. Is they want to make sure they're not giving access to their product to someone who doesn't have the knowledge, respect, or experience to provide that product to insurance consumers in a responsible way. So I think the answer early on in most cases is going to be probably yes. Probably yes, you need a market access provider of some sort. And there's all different versions. There's SIA and their master agencies. There are kind of individual networks. Danielle Smink runs CLI, which is a tremendous group. There are all different kinds. There are small groups of 5 or 6 agents that get together. There are other large groups. There's Keystone and Iroquois. And again, this is not pro, con, any individual. Everyone has their advantages and disadvantages. What I want to try to give you in this video is a framework with which to make your decision as to who to work with. And before we get there, I guess it's important to answer, did I choose a market access provider? And the answer to that is yes. I chose to work with Indium. Indium is run by Chad Eddy out of Ohio. Seth Zaremba is involved. He was one of the co-founders. And I will get to why I chose Indium as my market access provider and a little later in the video. But I'll have links to Indium below. I'll have links to everyone that I mention below so that you can check them all out. Again, I'm not trying to direct you towards Indium or away from anyone else or whatever. I want to give you a framework to make the best decision for you. And so let's do that. And again, if you have questions, join the Facebook group, ping in the Facebook group, ask all the questions you want. The Facebook group link will be either in the description of this if you're watching on YouTube or in the post if you're watching it on my site. So, okay. So let's get to some questions. I think the very first question that you need to ask yourself is like, what are you trying to be? What kind of agency are you trying to be? Are you trying to be non-standard? Are you trying to be kind of standard personal lines only, commercial lines only, generalist? Are you going niche? This is very, very important to understand who your identity is. The identity of Rogue Risk, my agency, is a predominantly commercial lines and preferred personal lines, package personal lines. Ultimately, I want to push into the high net worth personal lines business and accompanied with kind of a white gloves commercial lines model, an intensive advisory model for commercial lines. We are not, I will never judge the success of this agency by the number of accounts or policies that we have, but by the work that we're providing to the customers that we do. Obviously, I want to make a revenue, but I think in general, our client base will be slightly more touches to get them in, more human-to-human interaction. And then obviously, because it's an agent-optimized model, we're digitizing some of the introductory, some of the outreach, and some of the flows and automations, and providing some self-service tools for our clients where we can so that they can do their own work. That's who we're trying to become. You have to answer that question for you. Who do you want to be? Are you just trying to have a shingle and sell home and autos and make a business? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think you have to figure out who you want to be. Once you have a clear vision of who you want to be, it's important to start to think about, like, where are you struggling in executing that vision? Are you struggling to get appointments? If you don't have appointments, you can't write insurance. You can't do the business of being an independent insurance agent if you don't have markets. So if you're really struggling with that, if you can't get a Travelers or a Progressive appointment or a Hartford appointment, like if it's really difficult for you to get those appointments, then getting a market access provider, establishing a relationship with a market access provider almost becomes mandatory. But the next level of where you're struggling is, do you know the business well? So Indium has some coaching programs, educational programs. The version of Indium's product that I joined was their market access provider product. Very low annual, one-time annual cost. You pay it every year, but annual cost. And it's a no-frills market access relationship. I'm not interested in a relationship with them where I'm getting tons of education, tons of back office support. I just haven't set I set my business up in a way that I don't need those things. I also joined their program in so much as I don't have access to contingencies. So they have two layers. They have a premier program, which is more expensive on an annual basis, but you have access to contingencies and profit sharing and things like that. For me, year one, I'm just trying to establish a client base. That contingencies and profit sharing were not something that I was interested in particular this year. Next year, that may change. I wanted to get the access, keep my budget in a place where I can, put everything I can back into marketing the business and outreach, and eventually I'm going to need things like VA. So there's trade-offs, and I'll know if that was the right decision or not. Maybe that won't be the right decision, but that's what I chose. I don't need the back office support stuff. If things like accounting services, bookkeeping services, office management, different market access providers have all different levels of services that can help you get to where you need faster or whatever. So understanding where you struggle is a really important aspect of this. Then think about the resources that you have. So if you're a salesperson and you want to take the capital that you have and push that into places where it can grow the business, and you don't want to have to think about back office stuff, then you want to go with a market access provider that can help you do that. So think about the resources you actually have. Like in my case, I am completely self-funding Rogue Risk, so I need to make some trade-offs. And in this case, I traded upfront cost for profit sharing and that kind of stuff down the line for year one. Again, that may change, but for year one, I made that trade-off. Cash is king for me right now, and I make the decisions accordingly, and that's what we all have to do. So the next question is, where are you trying to go? So different market access providers, I think, provide different levels of leeway, different runway. I think, some can get you to profit sharing and all that kind of stuff immediately. So now you're getting checks from a profit sharing standpoint that you may not have gotten for 2 or 3 years. You're getting them in year one. That can really help with cash flow. How big do you want to be? What do you want your relationship with your carriers to be? If you're a generalist kind of BOP and home and auto business, serving a market, trying to do a good job, being part of that community, and you don't need specialized products, you really just want to make sure you're providing your community with the best possible resources, then really the idea of ever having to, of working into direct appointments, working into specialized markets, those things may never actually be important to you. And thinking about that is important when you get into one of these relationships. I think what happens if you want to leave is a very important question to have. I think it's important to understand who owns the book. How do you transfer to a direct appointment if you want that? What your obligations are to providing the market access company quote opportunities versus any direct appointments that you do have. Who do you want to be, and what does it look like if the relationship falls apart? I have learned the hard way multiple times now in my career that the most important conversation you need to have when starting a relationship is, how does this relationship end? And how do we make sure that both of us are in a great place when it ends? Even if things aren't great between us, we are able to separate in a way that is advantageous to everyone. And this is very important when having these discussions. And you want to make sure you may not get everything you want out of a contract to get other things. There's compromise and everything. But being cognizant, going into these things eyes wide open, very, very important. Again, there's no right or wrong. Every relationship comes with trade-offs. You give a little, you get a little. But I think my key to you is just don't, sign things and assume everything is okay. Dig into them, read them, make decisions. If there's something you don't understand, consult an attorney. The $250 to $500 you may have to pay for an hour of someone's time to review a contract is often worth the upfront investment when you're making a big relationship like this. And then you can negotiate from a place of awareness, which is the most important thing. And then I think finally, what's your disposition like? I would be being dishonest to you if I said that I didn't have the entrepreneurial bug. If for me, moving fast, making decisions, failing, learning, iterating, changing, adapting, pushing, and figuring out the path that works for what I'm trying to do, that's not going to work in every relationship. It's not going to work with every carrier. It's not going to work with every technology company, with every marketing access provider, with every consultant, with every mastermind group. That methodology works with some and not with others. And that is where I am currently. 5 years, 10 years from now, my mentality may adjust and I may have other things that are important to me. But right now, I have to work with people who are open to the fact that I'm going to change my mind, that things are going to adapt and move. And for me, the relationship with Indium met those needs. Again, I've discussed some of the trade-offs that I have with them, but for me, I wanted a company that was willing to think about integrations, to think about new technology that they could integrate with, that they could help us as agents and agency owners do our job better. And I think what finally pushed me over the edge with Indium, besides also Chad Eddy is a tremendous guy. And obviously I love everything that Seth does. And even though he's not directly in the business, he is a part of it. Indium has an integration, or is in a beta, which I'm part of, an integration with Tarmica. And Tarmica, I've said for a while in a lot of different resources, I believe in this company. I think that they have something that's gonna really help agencies be more valuable to their clients on their clients' terms. And that pushed me over the edge and really was the kicker. So my disposition was to work with a company like that. If your disposition is that you like to work within the confines of a structure that gives you security and safety, and it gives you direction, and you like to have help, and you're in a different place, a different mindset, everyone's very different, like, make those decisions. Again, there's no judgment here. Just because I made a decision, I make a lot of bad decisions too. I don't think Indium is one of them. Neither do I think Tarmica is one. I think they're both very good decisions for who I am and what I'm trying to do. I think for you, I'm speaking at 3 SIA master agencies. Assure Alliance in South Carolina. I'm speaking in Arizona at SIAA, and I'm speaking in Florida at SAN Florida. So this is, again, not an indictment, one better than the other. I spent some time with Danielle Smink at IOA. I love what she's doing at, I think it's Canyon Land Insurance, sorry, Danielle. And I think There are many other networks, aggregators, market access providers who would be great for your organization. I just want you to take some time, go in eyes wide open, understand what it looks like to leave, understand what the fee structure is, understand what your responsibilities to them are, understand what your needs are that you can get from them. And many of these companies, specifically SIA and what Danielle is doing at Canyonland, have tremendous back office support, educational resources, and if those things are important to you. And here's the last one. Who else is using the tool? What other agents, are there groups formed around these entities that you can leverage, and you leverage their knowledge and their experience to help you grow faster and smarter and be more profitable and make your agency everything you want it to be? I think market access providers are a positive thing. I think especially at the beginning, they're very positive. And my only ask of you is that you go into every relationship with your eyes wide open so that you can make the necessary decision for your business. Because there's no perfect partner, but there can be a perfect partner for you. So this is The Inside. I love you guys for watching this. I hope you'll join the Facebook group. There should be an email box around this video somewhere. If not, I'll put a link right here. You can connect, subscribe via email so you get new episodes delivered directly to your inbox. Otherwise, guys, keep pushing, keep fighting. Congratulations for being an agency owner and working hard and trying to figure all this stuff out. And if I can ever help you, please let me know.